And we are back to the PT Graduate Podcast. Welcome along again. And my guest today is Alexander Roach. Hello, Alexander. How are you?
Fantastic. How you been?
Yeah, really well, really well. I'm still enjoying the stunning summer that we've got here in Auckland. So not complaining about the heat. That's why I moved to New Zealand. So
it's been an endless summer, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's been so consistent. I'm glad that humidity's dropped, but otherwise, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. It's definitely a welcome change to some of the past summers that we've had.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. So before we got going, I was sort of saying, I've been trying to do a bit of digging, bit of stalking, try find out a little bit about you. Obviously we've met a couple of times, but don't know that much. So it'd be good to get you to fill in the blanks. Obviously you're in the industry, so you're a PT, you're a nutrition enthusiast or even nutritionist. I'm not sure. You can correct me on that. Sure. You're a massive Star Wars fan by the looks of things. That's one thing I did find out.
Of all the digging, that's what you come back with. That's
it did stand out. It did stand out.
I will have to curate that persona a little bit better. No, it's you're right. I don't have a lot of information out on the internet about myself. I tend to stay away from social media, websites. I just can't be bothered to maintain. I understand that is a very important business aspect, but in terms of things that I'm good at, maintaining a social media presence is not one of them. And my business personally has not suffered for it. I'm sure it could be a lot better, but I'm exactly where I need to be and want to be with that right now. So I have not felt the need to be on social media to promote myself. Sure. That said, I've been doing this for quite a while, and the people that know me well, and are very confident to refer on to their friends, family, and co-workers. So that's usually how I get out there.
Fair enough. I mean, if it's working for you, then why change it? You shouldn't have to feel sucked into the vortex of social media.
No, I do think every now and again that I should dip my toes back in there, but I find myself deleting Facebook again and again and again. That's just I cannot be bothered with it.
Fair enough. So so give us a bit of background. So how did you get into the industry? When was that? And obviously you're not from these shores. So when did you shift here? And give us the backstory.
Okay, so I am Canadian by design, and left Canada when I was 22, 23, just to maybe spend a year over in Australia, as a lot of people do, and ended up staying there for 10 years. So what I was doing at that time when I first shifted across the ocean was working in IT, designing databases and all that other fun stuff for the back end side of websites. And this is going back early 2000, so I'd say 2004. So the internet was not what it is now. It was a lot simpler, actually. Anyway, so I was working from home and it was going well, but I wasn't getting out much, and I was sitting at my window and I'd see boot campers go running by and people just enjoying the outside. And moving to Australia from Canada, being outside has a very different feel. It's a lot warmer, a lot more sunshine. And I found myself wanting to be outside more. So I decided to make the shift in my business and just kind of restudy and become a personal trainer. And that's how I got into it. And I just, from there, fell in love with the industry. It was something that was right up my alley. I enjoyed being active instead of behind a desk. I enjoyed working with people rather than computers. And it was just ticking all the right boxes. So I want to say that was probably 2006-ish, thereabouts, when I got stuck into the fitness industry.
Brilliant.
Brand new to the industry. I was running boot camps as the second in command. I was working at one of the big local gyms in Australia. All the usual stuff that PTs go through. And then from there, I just kind of honed my skill a little bit more and, zeroed in on where I wanted to be, started working more with smaller communities and partnering with people that were doing things that were a lot more interesting than I was, as far as like mainstream.
Mm.
So from there, I went into the special populations. There was a program running in Sydney called Community Strength and Balance.
Okay.
Community Strength and Balance? I can't remember. Something to that effect.
Mm.
Where they'd send out professionals to people's homes, in this case, personal trainers, and they would work with these older people that don't get out, can't get to the gyms, and just to work with them to get a little bit stronger. That project wound down, but the people that were seeing me really benefited from me coming around, both socially and physically. So they kept me going and saying, look, we want you to keep coming. So that turned into more of a private focus for myself. About, 2013, decided to check out this side of the Tasman. And so we moved over here. My wife and I moved over here. My wife, Lisa, she is an amazing trainer in her own regard. She is qualified as a conductive educator. So she uses rhythm to instigate movement with people. It's a practice that came out of Hungary way back in the day. And, there's England, the Birmingham University picked up the program and ran with it as well. And so she studied in Birmingham, became a conductive educator, and has traveled around the world, helping people with stroke, cerebral palsy, MS, Parkinson's, and the like. So she's a movement specialist. And then we just combined forces, because why wouldn't you at this point? So a few years in New Zealand, we started up an operation called Counterpunch Parkinson's. So this combined the best of what Lisa has in her toolkit with rhythm and movement. We combined that with boxing. So people with Parkinson's, typically in their 70s, 80s, 90s, they're not getting in the ring and hitting each other. They're going through boxing training style exercises, because we found that that is very rhythmic. It encourages larger movements, which is what people with Parkinson's needs. And balance is a big thing as well, because of that stance that you have. And plus of course the exercise, the high intensity exercise, is really, really good to help manage the condition. And even more recently, we've decided that this is all fine and dandy, but what if we had a place to do this that was all our own, instead of working out of other boxing gyms? And so we've taken over a space, put up some boxing bags, and we now have a company called Unruly Company, because of the people that come through there. They are unruly, so we do keep Unruly Company.
Superb.
And it's not just Parkinson's, and we do have mainstream clients in there, and we kind of use that as a bit of a social enterprise. So the money that the mainstream clients bring in help keep a roof over our heads, so we can use that facility to service the other population. In a nutshell, that's what is
love it
has been going on.
That's fantastic. So I think really I need to get Lisa on as my next guest, don't I?
I think so. I think you are going to have a wonderful time talking to Lisa. She has a very colorful background.
And I just like that niche that she's picked out and run with, and the way that you've partnered together to kind of build on the strengths of both of your experiences, and like you say, you've got that nice mix of mainstream and non-mainstream, which support each other, and I guess probably make it sustainable. So for people out there who maybe have come across clients who may need that sort of support, whereabouts are you based?
We're based in Auckland, so up on the North Shore, Hobsonville. That's where we run our facilities from. But our Counterpunch brand is nationwide. We have, at last count, 15 locations across New Zealand. So we run courses a few times a year. Last year was a little bit weird because of COVID, so we did not. But we run courses, and we teach other personal trainers and allied health professionals how to structure their exercise sessions for people with Parkinson's in a boxing-based exercise environment.
Right.
So, and then they go back to their own facilities or to their community gyms, and they run their programs out of there.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So are those people who are now running that as a result of that education, would they just be newly educated, or would they be like an affiliate or a licensee? Or what's the relationship ongoing?
We call it an affiliation.
Yeah.
So they would come and do our course, and providing that they pass and we're happy with it, because, you know, we're kind of fussy about who's running our courses. We do have a standard that we want to maintain. Then we invite them to become an affiliate, and that just means that they can, one, call their program Counterpunch Parkinson's, and it might be, you know, Counterpunch Parkinson's Christchurch, or Counterpunch Parkinson's Taupo, wherever they are. They can name it whatever. And with that affiliation, they have ongoing support from us. So if they ever need anything, they can always message us. They get listed in our directory. So if there are Parkinson's community educators out there that are working with Parkinson's New Zealand or people with Parkinson's New Zealand, they know that they can confidently refer their clients to these exercise groups, because that coach has undergone training specifically with Lisa, because they know Lisa, and yes, and how fastidious she is.
Fantastic. So Lisa's already got the relationship with Parkinson's New Zealand as I guess a provider under their umbrella.
That is a tricky one. How to navigate that one? So, not a provider under their umbrella, rather than a provider that works alongside their services, but definitely independent, fiercely independent. Yes, and so they have. They being Parkinson's New Zealand doesn't have any say on how we run these, because we have our own standards that we want to run to make sure that no one is excluded. The thing with organizations, not just Parkinson's New South Wales, any of those organizations, not New South Wales, but New Zealand, is that if you're not within their service industry, then you cannot access their services. But we don't want to limit that. We want anybody with Parkinson's, no matter where you are, to come in and not be limited.
Of course. So you get leads from other organizations as well, like care home organizations, hospitals, those sorts of things?
So care facilities that have a large portion of Parkinson's, and there's a lot of them out there. The last time we looked, they said 1 in 400 people are going to develop Parkinson's.
Wow.
Which is a very high rate. I would guess that it's actually a little bit higher than that. I can't remember the last time they counted those numbers, but I would not be surprised to see if it's actually a little higher. So these care facilities will be looking for programs to run, and that would be definitely one of them.
Right. So it's a very, I guess, in-demand service. Which, are there many other providers that would sort of sit in that space? I mean, obviously, boxing's a little bit specialized, but that do provide support for sufferers of Parkinson's?
There are a few different programs available. There is, what's that one? LSVT, I think it's called. I don't remember what those letters stand for, but it's a big and loud, so they encourage bigger movements, louder movements. And there's this other outfit, whose name escapes me at the moment, run solely by physiotherapists. And they are, I think, based in Australia, but they do run programs here. But it's also very limiting, because they are limiting their service providers to just physiotherapists. And then the price point that comes with that makes it very inaccessible for a lot of people. When you're charging somebody $6,000 for a 6-week program, I don't know how they can afford that. A lot of these guys are pensioners, not used to spending money on themselves. So programs like ours, where it's $15 a session, is a little bit more within their reach, and in my opinion, it's just as good, if not better.
Yeah. What how does your week go? How much of your time is sort of spent in that specific area of the business, as opposed to the more mainstream that you referred to earlier?
portion wise, so we do run quite a few classes a day for Parkinson's, as well as take care of our affiliates. So I would say it's like at this point right now, once you get the hang of it and you've got that wheel going, it's all about momentum. And so there's not a lot of push that needs to be done. Every now and again, when we have a course coming up, of course, we're going to have to advertise and get bums in seats, we'll say. But there is enough demand that it does run itself. We just have to show up and use our expertise and make sure that everyone is getting benefit out of it. So in a week, I'd say 5-6 hours of that. We've got we run prostate cancer groups as well, so there's another few hours there. The core business of Unruly Company, that is small group training. So with COVID restrictions, we are limited to class sizes of 12. Small group training, but group training nonetheless. And so we're running most days 4 classes a day, and so there's and all the gaps in between are filled with one-to-one clients that want private tuition, either because it's something a little bit more focused for them. And it doesn't have to be Parkinson's related or disability related. It can definitely be someone who just wants to move and feel better and manage injuries. So
sounds busy. Sounds like you've got some. I mean, obviously, small group is the way forward from an income and leverage point of view of time. And there's always going to be that demand for the individual stuff as well, isn't there, from people that you come into contact with? So it's a great way of sort of spreading things in terms of income between the group and the individual, so that it comes in different lots across different times.
Absolutely. And I think like the small group training, like it already has had quite a few years of like really getting that build up, but I think it's going to go absolutely gangbusters in the next few years. It's going to be one, more affordable for people in these coming years, because we all know what's coming. But also, aside from the affordability, you have the price of a one-to-one session versus a coaching session. It puts it in that price range for people, and they're not left to their own devices going to the gym. Because I know a lot of people, myself included, if I don't have an appointment with somebody or I'm not booked in to be somewhere, I'm just not going to go. I'm going to find something else to do. There's always going to be emails to send. So taking myself to the gym to put myself through my own workout is definitely going to take a backseat to anything else that needs to be done.
Absolutely. We're all just human, right? So we've got the same challenges and the same frailties. It's just finding a mechanism that works for you, isn't it, to keep you doing what you need to do. But you're going back to what I said at the beginning, nutritionist or nutrition enthusiast. I know that's an area of expertise for you. Did I get that right?
On both counts. So again, rewinding that clock back to the very beginning. Learning about the fitness industry, I very quickly realized, and I think everyone does when they first started, it's like, this is only one side of the coin. The other side is the nutrition. And so, I went and did lots of studying, got lots of, certificates and whatnot just for nutrition. And being in New Zealand, and I thought, I'm not going anywhere for a while. I might as well just bite the bullet, get the bachelor's degree for nutrition. Lisa seems to think that I'm going to be continuing to study well into my 70s. But no, I'm not. I don't have any plans for a PhD at this point.
Sure.
But I am this close to finishing my Bachelor of Science for Nutrition.
Right.
It's a 3-year degree, and I'm currently on year 6.
Well done.
Because, it's I should end up with a PhD at the end of this. But that's how it goes when you study part-time. I mean, we're trying to run a few businesses here. I'm still trying to, mortgage to pay, and bills. Fitting studying in on top of all of that just means it's going to take a little while longer. But with anything, you're not going anywhere. I had a chat with one of my clients last night, and she was a little bit miffed that she wasn't getting the grades that she needed to get into like her next stage of the career. And I said to her, look, you're not going anywhere. If it takes a little while longer, it takes a little while longer. You know, I know you had plans for this, but what if it happens next year? What if it happens the year after that? And she's put it into perspective for her.
Nice. Yeah, good pragmatic approach. And you're right. I mean, whenever we start something, if it's let's say it's a 12-month program, you know, it's like, yeah, no problem, 12 months, you know, 18 months. It was, you know, so that's just the reality. You're right. But as long as you can extend, then hey, you know, it'll get done eventually, like you say.
Exactly. I mean, it's, you know, we're here for a while. You might as well just put in the hard yards and get it done. Nothing is going to be done quickly if it's worth doing, you know. For all those 6-week challenges out there, like 6-week weight loss challenge, for example, you know, that's the first step. You know, a victory comes from 1,000 steps. It's going to take a while to get there. Just as long as you start, you're well on your way.
Any particular sort of philosophy that has worked for you well in your clients with that nutrition? Because there are so many different flavors of nutrition, aren't there, in terms of paradigms, I suppose. Is there one that that sort of attracts you the most and seems to be the best for your clients?
Absolutely. So I was talking to this with a group the other day because we were talking about the difference between say keto or low carb or the Mediterranean diet, intermittent fasting, and they were wondering, you know, which one should I do? And the answer is very simple. It's like the one that works for you.
Yeah.
If you don't normally eat keto and you're like a vegetable lover, then keto is probably not going to go well for you. It's if it doesn't fit into your lifestyle. If you are following bodybuilders that are telling you you need to eat 6 times a day to maintain that metabolism, that's really old information, and it's proven. But you know, if people have lives, they can't stop every 3 hours and eat. So you know, you have to find something that works for you. As simple as it is, it's like, you know, your 5 serves of veggies a day, your 2 serves of fruit, your protein, and your dairy. You know, it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. There's no reason to complicate things. If you are more comfortable with a vegetarian diet and that sits well with you and your body responds well, then you go for it. There's not one diet that's going to suit everybody. It's always going to be an experiment of one. So N equals 1 for that one. And you got to find out. It might be hit and miss for a little while, and then you're going to find something that suits you, your lifestyle, your routine. It's all about consistency, though. You just have to stick with it. And that's like going back to what I was saying. It's like, you know, it's going to take a while, but settle in. Find that routine, stick with it, and you will see results.
Yeah, brilliant. I like it. Have you got any things that have worked for you in terms of that client contact and the accountability / support mechanism that keeps them on track? Because I find, you know, that's probably the trickiest thing. It's how tough you are and how supportive you are, you know, in terms of getting people to stay on track.
Well, as a coach, and you'll probably find this with your clients, they'll often ask you, is like, well, what do you do? Like, you know, with your training, what do you do? It's like, how often do you run? What do you eat? And it's just like, well, I'm me and you're you, and I'll tell you what I do, and you're not going to like any of this. You know, you don't want to run as much as I do, or you don't want to eat the things that I eat, but I'll definitely tell you. But to keep them on track, it's just that regular contact, and always asking them how it's going, taking a vested interest and an actual interest in what they're doing, and being empathetic as well. Not everybody is to our standards. You know, we are health professionals and we know things that other people do not. We might have different drivers that other people do not. You know, take athletes, for example. They're used to waking up at the crack of dawn, training the house down, eating super clean, and then you know, getting themselves to bed. They don't worry about you know, the day-to-day, getting into the office, and what did Janet make for lunch this day? It's like, you know, stuff like that. So what works for them won't work for the average person. And just realizing that everybody has a life that's revolving around them, and they're going to make decisions that you don't agree with, and just being like, hey, look, we're trying to do a thing. You realize that we're trying to do a thing. You know that wasn't the right choice. Get back on track.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Good. I like it. Just keep it as simple and as straightforward as possible. I think you're right. You know,
yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated.
No. But yeah, it's that consistent support, and if you're consistent with the support, then they'll be more consistent with the results, I guess, won't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just kind of that time where I start to pick people's brains for top tips or things that you've learned that you wouldn't do again, that kind of thing. So what would Alexander's top tips be? What would you suggest?
Top tips. Well, there's so many things that I've tried that haven't worked. I guess
haven't we all? Yep.
Easy way to start.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah, it's so everyone's got an opinion on how we all should be running our businesses or places that we should focus. And often people giving this advice have absolutely nothing to do with the industry that we're in. It's just like, oh, my aunt said that. It's just like one of those. Yeah. So follow your gut and don't really take into account too much to what those other people are saying. You need to trust yourself. So if someone's saying, it's like, oh, you need to advertise more on Facebook, for example. There's great eyeballs galore on Facebook. You can sink a lot of money into that. And but again, if you're not there, if that's not in your gut, is like, that's what I want to do, and that's where I want to focus, then don't do it, because it's not going to work. Just like with our clients, that are looking to achieve a goal. If it's not their goal, then it's not going to work. And if it's not consistent, it's not going to work. So just like with our clients, you can't expect results right away. So you have to be wholeheartedly invested in whatever it is you're going to do. So if it's an avenue of advertising, or if you want to head down a particular path in the industry, get more into holistic movements or bodybuilding, or if you want to go nutrition, to make sure you actually have an interest in that, and you're not just following it because you can see that the market's kind of going that way and there's money to be made there. Because if your heart's not in it, people will know, you'll know, and you just won't be able to support people, and it'll come back to bite you in the butt.
I like that. Yeah, because that's the authenticity, isn't it?
It is.
It's you being you, and following a passion that can provide a service and support others. Yeah, I like that. I like the gut thing as well.
It's that authenticity and that enthusiasm that people are buying into. For when you are your brand, they are coming to see you, one, because you know what you're doing, but also because they like the way that you do what you're doing. If they can, and people will know if you're not being genuine. Absolutely.
Totally. I like that. That's awesome. Any other top tips?
One that's always gotten me through the tougher times was the fake it till you make it mentality.
Right.
So you know where you want to be, you know where you're going. And you might not be there yet, but if you pretend like you do, you'll eventually get there, and before you know it, you will be there, and you'd already been acting that way for a very long time. So in our industry, we know more, even as rush graduates, we know more than the average person who's just joined the gym. So if you put on that I'm a specialist hat, and you're working within your scope, but if you put on that specialist hat and you're walking that walk and talking that talk, eventually you will get there. Just make sure that you do enjoy being in that hat. Because if it's not the right fit, again, people will see you in that hat, and probably should leave the hat analogy alone, but you will look silly in that hat.
I agree. And I just can't help interrupting you and saying, I can see that green hat over your right shoulder. And I'm like, I have got that exact same hat. It's outstanding. That is.
It's right underneath a sombrero. Yeah,
I see the sombrero as well.
I like hats.
I've got one of those in the cupboard behind me, and we should probably put our hats on at the end, just before we sign off.
Absolutely. You probably should have closed that closet now that I'm thinking about
it. It has been distracting me the whole way through, just thought I'd say.
No. I guess I could say it's Lisa's hat, but I'd probably be lying.
Okay. So that's obviously that's the dress up shelf.
Oh yeah, we like to keep the fun in all of our sessions. So we'll often do dress up days. I think our next one coming up is St. Patty's Day. So
yes,
middle of March. Looking forward to that.
Not far away.
We'll make an appearance.
Excellent.
We'll have balloons, and people will have no idea what's going on or what's going into us.
I guess that's living with the brand, the Unruly Company, right?
Yes, it has to be fun. Like, I'm not here to be serious and not enjoy this. If I'm going to be playing with people all day, I'm going to be playing with people all day.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's part of like my own personal brand is we're going to have fun. This is playing.
Yeah.
We are all adults here, and why not have fun?
Fantastic. That's awesome. And that's quite a nice note to finish on, I reckon.
Great.
And thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, Alexander. It's been great chatting, and I've learned a lot more than I thought I was going to. So really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me on.
Cheers.